And we are live. Welcome back to the James and McGee Show. I am your host. I am James McGee, and familiar face, of course, co-host Tom Wells. We're gonna jump into it tonight. We should have a couple more people jumping on, but we're gonna get into it. So first off, are you drinking anything, Tommy?
I am. I'm drinking a very nice. I shouldn't say mellow. This is actually it's a smooth drink, but I thought appropriate for the night. I'm drinking from the bottle called Smoke Wagon because I hope that President Trump brings a smoke wagon tonight to the Congress and gets everybody all fired up.
And I think he will. So I'm drinking Jameson Black Barrel. You know, Jameson's my go-to, but Black Barrel is the best one in my book. This is about the $40 bottle. You know, regular Jameson's about $25, so this is a $40 bottle. You get up to about $150, but I'm gonna tell you, you don't beat this one. Jameson Black Barrel, if you're an Irish whiskey drinker, it's one of the best Irish whiskeys you can drink. So, Tommy, let's dive into it if you're ready.
I'm ready, brother.
You know, Trump is addressing Congress tonight, so this is a good time to have a little pregame and a little, especially what has happened in the last week, the disaster of the meeting that happened between Trump and Zelensky and Vance. And so I'll give you my quick opinion and just an overview of how things went down for me. Then I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay. So, you know, I'm like everybody else. I wasn't watching it live. And then I get a text from my wife and she says, "Are you watching this shit on TV?" And with Trump, I said, I had no idea. So I got on probably X. I think I got on X and started watching it. And I'll tell you that I'm like everybody. I think I'm like most people that if all you saw was the fight part, you were disappointed. I was disappointed in Trump and in Vance at first because that's all I saw. But then I watched the whole thing and then I got mad. And then I watched it again. And then I even got more mad. Then I watched it for a third time, and I got mad at Trump and Vance because they didn't throw this motherfucker out long before that. I have never seen somebody more disrespectful to come into our country, into our Oval Office, as sacred as it is to us, and act like a fucking imbecile. And then this is when I've really gotten angry, is when I found out, Tom, about the Democrat senators headed by Chris Murphy and Mark Kelly, who told him from the beginning, don't sign this agreement. He was there to sign an agreement. And the reason why, in my opinion, is typical Democrat senators, they're warmongers. And they want this to keep going on so they can keep making money. They're getting kickbacks. You know, they're bought and paid for by the military industrial complex. And they don't want Trump. This is going to be a huge win. When this happens and he ends this war that happened under the Democrats' watch, Trump's going to be a hero. And they don't want that. That's my opinion. I think the senators that participated in this meeting, including Lindsey Graham, are violated the Logan Act and are treasonous. They're traitors to this country, and they should be investigated and prosecuted for treason.
Yeah, it was truly unlike anything I'd seen or heard. Well, to start off with, I was very fortunate. I heard about this while I was getting ready to get off work. So I was able to pull it up, and I have about a 40-minute drive home. So I was able to listen to it in my car in its entirety for the first time I heard it. So I really
good. Okay.
I was very fortunate that I had been able to hear the part where I felt like President Trump had been very respectful towards and welcoming and open to President Zelensky. And so as I got closer to home, I stopped it so that I could go inside and then actually watch the fireworks went off. And, watching his body language, I mean, as police, we're trained to watch body language. And I was just immediately struck by Zelensky's body language and how closed up he was. And, of course, without having the knowledge about the Democrat meeting where they told him not to sign it, to where he was going in there with an attitude as it was, I was just like you and so many people. I was shocked. I was, again, it was surprising to see the way J.D. Vance and Donald Trump went after him. But on the other hand, it's so refreshing to see people stick up for what's right. And we're just not used to that in this country. We're not used to people who are politicians just standing up and saying what needs to be said. My family, my mom grew up in Germany in World War II. She grew up in Nazi Germany. My grandfather was a Nazi soldier. Okay, that doesn't make me associated with that. But the reason I bring that up is because I saw first, or I heard firsthand from the accounts of my mom what it was like to live in a country where you have no freedoms and where you're told what you're going to do, and how war, how it's just damaging. And there were buildings and people destroyed because of the bombing that had to take place. And that's what's going on in Ukraine right now. There was a statistic I heard on the television about roughly 2,000 soldiers die per week. It's ridiculous. I see videos on, I kind of keep up with it on YouTube a little bit. Ukraine is deploying drones that literally fly right up to people and blow them up. And hey, I understand they're defending their territory. I'm all for that. But it is a very costly war. It is a disgusting loss of human life. And I am not here for 1 second to support Russia's side of this. They invaded, but I do have a point I'd like to make maybe here a little bit further on in the podcast about some interesting things I discovered about NATO over the last week or so. But it was, it's just, all I took away from it was that Zelensky does not want a peace deal because I don't know why, I'm not him, but to go into that meeting and say that you don't want a ceasefire just because you don't think the other side is going to honor it, to me that, it looks terrible that he doesn't want a ceasefire and that Russia is willing to, is at the table to talk about it. So
look at the South of join. Look at it.
Look at that guy.
I wear a Chris Kyle shirt. I didn't know I was supposed to be dressed in a blue shirt.
Well, Tommy showed up in this one. I ran out and changed real quick.
Oh, okay, man.
Because I figured that tonight, Tommy had a good point. Tonight's going to be a good night, and I think you always get an A game Trump, and he's going to say some crazy shit. But tonight's going to be on a different level.
Well,
I think.
You want my prediction?
Yep, give it to us.
All right, I made the prediction on election night. You're like, oh boy, I don't know, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on the phone all day with Mr. Z, and he's already signed off on that agreement.
I'm not going to.
And he's dropping that tonight.
I'm not going to tell you you're wrong on that, Joe. I think that will shove it up their ass. So, let's give a toast to that. Let's see if hopefully that happens. Joe, what you drinking? What you drinking? Wine? You're like a. Hold on. Pull that back up. What is that glass? You look like you're a priest or something drinking. What look like
From
a priest?
The chalice. Well,
you
that's
got
my
a chalice,
wife.
man.
She thinks that's a wine glass, and she just put it in.
Yeah.
It's a chalice, man.
Yeah, Chateau Michelle. I like that cab.
Oh, Chateau Michelle's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. So, Joe, what was your take? And were you like? And I said this when I opened. I think I'm like most people, and only the first thing I saw was the fight, and I was disappointed in Trump and Vance at first, and then I watched the whole thing. And after I watched it about the third time, I got really pissed off. Not at them. I think they should. What pisses me off about them, they should have bounced that little fucking midget out long before they did. I've never seen anybody disrespect our country, and especially we're not even mentioning the fact of what we've done for this little fucking runt and saved him. And he comes to our country and goes to our Oval Office and disrespects it like that. And then I found out the
Tommy's frozen. You're frozen in a perfect pause there, Tommy.
God, I wait till you see that one, Tommy. That was terrible. Go ahead, Tommy.
I agree with you. And everybody thinks that it was just.
Yeah, it's freezing up a lot tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, they think that just happened in the moment. They've been meeting with him the entire week, and he knew exactly what was supposed to happen in that meeting, and then he went totally against it.
Well, the meeting with the senators is the problem in my book. They gave him some bad advice. They played him. They gave him the big balls, and he walks in and he got embarrassed. Now, I've been researching the Logan Act, Joe. I think the senators that had that meeting, Mark Kelly, Chris Murphy, I think they violated the Logan Act and committed treason in my book.
Well, I think we got people with the gumption that they'll do something about it. I'm sure they're looking at it.
So what's your opinion of that meeting?
They'll
Was
get
that
right on
something
that
you
after
think?
files.
What's that, Tommy?
I said they'll get on that right after they get the Epstein file thing straightened out.
Yeah, that's it. We can talk about that one too. That's another
They
disaster.
got a truckload of documents apparently delivered. So
Yeah, today or yesterday.
mhm.
So Joe, what was your first take of this? When you first saw it, what did you think?
Well, I think that like everyone, that you're seeing, you are looking at it as though it's an emotional reaction by Vance and Trump, but it wasn't. That was all strategy. So I think that everybody that wants to jump on the bandwagon thinking as though they didn't know what they're doing and they got all angry and it's like, oh no.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah, exactly. That was a strategic plan. That they did exactly what they had planned to do because they knew what he was going to do when he walked into that room. He had two options. You do the right thing and say thank you. Where's the paper? Let me sign it. And as soon as they recognized if he wasn't going to do that, they had a plan for that.
Well, he interrupted them every time. First off, let me back up to this. And maybe, and y'all are old school like me, and y'all are professionals. Am I wrong for saying that the man showing up the way he was dressed was a statement in itself in disrespect? What's y'all's opinion on that?
I don't know that I've ever
Well,
seen
I
him
can tell you this. He made the statement when he was asked that way. He said that when the war is over, he would put on a costume. So he was already disrespecting the fact that people, that's what diplomats and people in those positions, you wear a suit. It's a professional meeting. And I don't care if you're at war or not. I just don't think it's appropriate. I mean, it's not, is it a make or break for me? No. But is it inappropriate? Yes.
Well, it's a make or break for me because, Tom, to me, it's a statement. When you're going to the Oval Office and you show up wearing thermal underwear and some pants, you're making a fucking statement. I think it was disrespect from the beginning, and that said something. When you do something like that, there's just little things that you do. And the man's, I think he's dumb, but he's not that dumb. I think he was saying something. What do you think, Joe?
So all of us have been in the investigative area. We understand what mirroring our audience and the person that we're going to be interacting with, or not doing that, what that says, right? So
Mhm.
if you are going to mirror, meaning you are going to dress in the same image as the person that you're going to meet with, you are respecting them at that level.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't do that, that's a totally different statement because what you're telling them is that they should have mirrored you. You were the person that should be in charge and that they should be respecting you and what you have chosen to do. That's fine if you're in your own house. He wasn't.
Right. Well, I think to dovetail on what Joe said, I think you hit the nail on the head because he was so used to coming here and everywhere else thinking, and he was being hailed as a hero. He's like everybody's little champion, right? And all of a sudden he comes to where he's there to do business and it's about being on a level playing field, even though he's the junior partner, which is true. And he did not play that like he was the junior partner. He thought he was the hot shot, and he's not.
No.
Well, you have when you're 5'2", I'm not a tall guy, but when you're 5'2", you've got some ground to make up anyway. So show up looking professional, show up crisp, power suit, power tie, and sit and carry yourself like a world leader, like a diplomat, not like some fucking ass clown cross-dress and look a little punk like he is.
I don't know if you saw the soundbite right as he was getting out of the staff vehicle there when Trump greeted him at the door. President Trump looked at the cameras and looked at him and said, "Oh, you're all dressed up." I thought that was hilarious. I mean, it was like setting it already, like basically telling him, "Hey, this is not appropriate for here."
Well, in Trump's eyes, he was saying something, Tom. And showing up like that, he was saying something. And to say go put a costume on, well, yeah, have y'all seen the videos?
The whole meeting was about this. Upsets me about this whole thing. Getting back to the other meeting, this whole thing with these Democratic senators, the fact that they hate Trump so much and seen Trump succeed so much that they would rather have people continue to die in Ukraine on both sides of that battle than to do the right thing and support this deal so that we can get a peaceful resolution.
In my opinion, straight up treason, and they should be tried for treason. They're traitors to this country. Mm-hmm. It's not about Trump. It's about this country, and they're traitors to this country, and they should be removed from office, tried for treason.
Yep.
Well, and we'll just see all of the childish behavior tonight because they don't have anything else. They don't have anything.
No.
Well, they do. The one thing they could do is show up and be professional and represent themselves as a position they're in, but they won't because they're children.
Well, supposedly there's a big a bunch of them aren't coming. Like most of them, Democrats they're protesting. They're not coming.
Good.
Yeah. And
yeah, who cares? We don't want them there anyway. They're useless. They're irrelevant. And they mean nothing. But
and they could be relevant. They could.
Well, I don't remember any Republicans. Now you've had some that probably hadn't shown up for every State of the Union, but I don't remember any protests. Republicans are just going to protest, and we had plenty to protest over the last 4 years. So for them to do that just shows they're a bunch of children, and they hate this country. They will do anything to look that meeting. This would, and it's not a huge deal to us. But I say that it is a huge deal to us because if it gets worse, we're not going to have a choice but to get involved troop wise. And, I was telling Tom off camera, all these people with these shirts and these flags, I stand with Ukraine. Well, if you're going to stand with Ukraine, grab a fucking gun
and go
get in the front line or shut the fuck up because you ain't standing with nobody. How about you stand with America? How about that?
Because they're not getting their way.
I loved when President Trump, when they were talking with President Putin, he goes, I'm for America. I'm for the world. I thought that was a brilliant line.
Yeah, he is. And he is, Tom.
And he means it. I love the fact that this guy gets it. There was a lot of things I didn't like about Trump 1.0 when he was president before. I could hardly stand to listen to him, even though I liked what his politics were. But he gets it. He has figured it out, and he's doing it right.
The only thing I wish he would stop, and he's not because he's Trump. Trump is just one of those that he can't not. The man can't not. He has to say the things. I wish he would stop saying, okay, Biden's an idiot and we know it. And we agree with it. I just don't think he had to say that in that meeting, but he can't not say those things.
Right.
But he absolutely loves his country and he does those things for this country. And that's something that whether you like him or not, it's hard to argue that his intent is this country. He really truly means the statement, make America great again. We may disagree with some of the route to get there, but hey, we elected him. Right. The man is a brilliant strategist. Shut the fuck up. Quit obstructing. All these Democrats do is obstruct. Quit obstructing and let him do the job. And Vance, to me, him and Vance, here's one thing they showed in that meeting. They're a fucking dynamic team together.
Yeah. And they truly are a team because if you remember in the past, what would Trump have done if JD Vance, for example, had stepped in and started making comments?
He would say, whoa, yeah, I got the, yeah, he'd have done that. I tell you what, he showed, that's a good point, Tom. He showed he's got some respect for JD.
Yes, he does. And I've seen him do that in several situations.
Yep, they're on the same page, and that's where that is. And I think that he's playing all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
He is playing them like a fiddle.
Yeah.
He knows that exactly what to do to set them off, and then they go off in some like spiral, like out of control, And then he just sits back. It's like, okay, well, they're busy now trying to figure out what I just did, and now we'll get some work done.
Yeah.
He is a master strategist, and every move that he makes, when people get emotionally involved in it and get all upset about it, that's part of his plan.
Yep. Yep. I do want to bring up some interesting little factoid that I learned this week. You know, there are 32 countries that are in NATO. 3 of those countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, are of the former Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, or part of the old USSR. They're now members of NATO. And even though I'm not about to sit here and say that Putin is worried about getting invaded by NATO or the Europe, you know, I do think that him, you know, that the idea though, that's not a good idea.
No, and if you look at the reason why he,
I don't want country getting drawn into a war.
You got a terrible connection, Tommy.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the whole reason why he doesn't want Ukraine in NATO, it's brilliant. People will not listen to why he's saying that. Is that if he's in NATO, then we're in NATO, and if Russia does something, then that's World War III. That we have to respond, and then and then North Korea's already there, and then China has to pick a side.
Yep.
So that is a deal breaker, and I'm not. Look, and another thing that pisses me off is that if you say anything about Zelensky or anything about Ukraine, that automatically means you're a Putin jock rider. Well, I ain't no Putin jock rider. I think Putin is a fucking evil man, but I think you tell me what has Zelensky showed that he is much better. What he has done. I mean, that is the most, in the history of the world, Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries ever.
They're missing $100 billion that we.
Yeah, so you don't tell me the way they're killing Christians. How is he much better? I'm not a Putin jock rider, but I'm gonna tell you, we'll never get any kind of agreement with Russia. That's a deal breaker. He is not going to allow Ukraine and NATO. And I am not a proponent of Ukraine being in NATO, because then we got to fight their fucking battles. And you know what? We didn't create your fucking problem. We're not Captain Save-A-Ho.
Right. Well, and I was with someone a couple weeks ago that I trust extremely to a very, very high level, and they live in Texas, and they're connected, and the Dallas area. And they let me know that there are a significant number of high-ranking Ukrainian military officials that now own $1 million mansions in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
where that $100 billion went.
So our friend Sean Singleton says he knows where some of it went. He bought his wife a Bugatti. Now I did hear that today too, Sean, and I don't know, and maybe you know how accurate that is, but I heard that he recently bought his wife, talking about Zelensky, a $4 million Bugatti. So if that's true, we should take him out just for that. Because what money did he buy it with, Tommy? Yours.
Ours?
Yeah. So that's and I hear about all these houses he owns, and look, there's a lot of stuff out there that people are going to say, but I'm with you, Joe. There's $100 billion missing. Where the fuck's it at?
Yeah, I think that's plenty of money to invest in your military.
Well, that's what the money was for. It's not, I sound cold-hearted when I say I don't give a fuck about Ukraine. Well, I don't care because the money's, no matter what we do, if we keep pouring money into it, they're not getting the people until we fix the corruption. Until the corruption's fixed, the people are not getting the money. So, it may sound cold-hearted, but I'm tired of supporting it. We definitely should not be on the ground there. We should not allow them to drag us into World War III.
No. Well, Mr. Big gets his 40% off the top. So.
Yeah. I saw a news story where they were talking about that Ukraine was selling weaponry that we have sold them or that has gone from us for like 20 cents on a dollar to like cartels and terrorist organizations. I don't know if that's true or not, but very disturbing.
So Sean is saying that $3.3 million Bugatti Chiron Sport. So apparently that is true. If I don't see how that how anybody can think that's okay. How can the mainstream media? Can you imagine if that was going on here, and we're just struggling like they are, and that's just I can't even grasp that, you know.
Hey, USAID bought a $3 million wedding, buddy.
Yeah, they did. They
So
sure
it's happening
did.
here. Damn straight, it's happening here.
Yeah. So what else happened this past week that interests y'all?
Well, I think didn't Doge just announce that they found a immigrant like facility or whatever that for like $1 billion operational fees, and there's nobody there. There hasn't been anybody there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many places have they found so far? Over 100, from what I understand, that we're paying. The federal government is paying hefty leases for that's unoccupied buildings. And the tune of
I
just
like that the Border Patrol. I like that the Border Patrol took over the USAID building. I think that's awesome.
I didn't know that they did.
Mm-hmm.
No shit. Okay.
That the leadership and the Border Patrol people that I've worked with for the past several years, they want to do their job. They want to protect the country, and they're getting to do it now.
Yeah. So Tom Homan's going to be as a guest of the speaker tonight, so he'll be there, and I'm sure Trump's going to recognize him and say some things. What else do y'all think Trump's going to cover now? It's not going to just be about Ukraine. What else you think he's going to cover now? And Joe, and I agree with you. I think he's coming out with the signed agreement and shove it up their ass.
Well, plus he's got now we have a finance company that's going to be in charge of the both ends of the Panama Canal, U.S. owned company. So
that's great news.
So we didn't technically take it back, but now we are a U.S. company is facilitating both ends of the Panama Canal.
So I think we're also going to get a report on how many people have been deported.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did y'all hear? Have y'all heard this? I heard this that in the past week they have issued 700,000 warrants for illegals, and the federal government. The order that's being put out to local law enforcement is not to execute them, not to execute the warrant, but to call ICE. They've got 700,000 warrants for illegals. Have y'all heard that?
I didn't hear that one.
Yeah. So they're not fucking around.
I did hear. No, they're not. I did hear a disturbing story tonight that'll be close to your guys' hearts. Apparently, there was an illegal immigrant who was released during the Biden administration who attempted to get on the Marine Corps base at Quantico and was arrested and then released later. Well, apparently he tried it again.
Wow. That's
not a good move.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be discussed tonight is, the immigration status. You think so? Let's talk about Epstein. Well, that was a pretty big disappointment. And I'm gonna tell you, a couple months ago, I don't know if it was on this show or one of my TikToks. I said, I don't give a fuck about Epstein. I'm tired of hearing about Epstein. Well, I've since then changed my position because it's obvious it is a major cover-up. Where are these files? Now, I hear that somebody high up at the New York office got fired this week. They were hiding files. It's enough of the FBI being allowed to just ignore orders from the AG, the director of the FBI, and the president and just do what the fuck they want. And it's time, and I think they're going to be held accountable. But that Epstein report was very disappointing.
I think there's people getting paid to either hide it or get rid of it.
Well, of course they are.
Yep. And you know, as much as we all love our FBI, it is disheartening and embarrassing to see these kind of things that you never expect would happen at the FBI. You know what I mean?
Well, we love the FBI that we know, Tom, and the ones that we interact with.
Right.
And but the Washington D.C. FBI, and that's they're the deep state. Kash Patel was right when he said that they are the deep state, and they continuously obstruct. They're no different than the Democrats in Congress. All they do is obstruct to where we can't get anything done that needs to be done.
It's all a power play.
Well,
Yeah,
people are trading power.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is the power brokers are gone now that were supporting those people that were in there, and all of a sudden they're fresh out of friends.
Yeah. And look, I had a couple of videos on TikTok in the past 2 days ranting about what we just talked about. And let me tell y'all this. When I say controversial stuff, and you know, it's beautiful. I get to say what the fuck I want, and I get a bunch of hate mail. I get people wanting to kill me. Well, let me tell y'all this. When I start talking about, and I mean it, about these Democrat senators committing treason, out of the hundreds, I got hundreds of comments. I might have had 5 that was, you know, go fuck yourself comments. People are definitely agreeing that this is a big problem. So it's there. Some, you know. Oh, here was my point. A couple people said Pam Bondi's a disappointment. Dude, she's only been sworn in for 3 weeks. You know, we've got to give her a little grace. She's got great intentions, but you want to talk about drinking from a fucking fire hose. I think that the problem is that you can't just fire everybody at first. I mean, it's going to take a while. They are 100% obstructing everything that her and Kash want to do. And that's where the problem comes in. They got to get a grip on it. They're going to have to, I think they're going to have to go nuclear, but I don't think that Pam and Kash are the problem. They're almost in a no-win situation. So we're going to have to bear with them and let them clean house first.
They got to find people that they can trust.
Yeah.
If you get a truckload of documents, she can't go through them. Right? She's going to have somebody actually that she trusts and a team of people that are going to go through that she trusts, and she's got to make sure she's surrounded by those people.
But Joe, where the fuck do you get those people?
Exactly. You got to bring them in yourself.
You got to bring them in yourself. Those people, I mean, it's a bigger problem than people like us can even fathom. How big of a problem this is.
The administrative nightmare that is, and that's just one. That's just one issue of how many others that she's dealing with right now.
All right, Sean's got a interesting point here. Did you know there was an Epstein on the airplane that was T-boned by the SH-60? No, Sean, I absolutely did not know that. If that is factual, that is a very interesting. That's a very interesting fact. So what do we want to, Tommy? What you want to close with? What are you hoping? What are you kind of hoping for tonight? Tommy, can you hear me?
Yep. For some reason, it's all frozen up tonight. I don't know what the problem
Okay.
is, but what I'm hoping is that President Trump is strong and that he doesn't allow the Democrat shenanigans to fluster him, and that he comes out and talks about the real and significant achievements that he's done in the last.
Mhm. Stay on message. Stay on message the whole time. Let the children behave the way that they're going to, and let them show themselves to the rest of the country, and get back to business.
You know, during the election, I was happy to see that we had a different Trump. Sometimes he was, especially after the assassination attempt, a little more humble, and I'd like to see him stay humble. But yeah, Joe, I'd like for him to stay on message, but I'd like for the message to be pretty much, I'm going to complete the mission. I don't give a fuck what you try to do. I don't care how much you try to obstruct me. I'm going to complete the mission. You're not going to stop me and my team. I put an A team together, all-star team. You're not going to stop us. That's what I would like the message to be. I want people to leave there knowing that no matter what gets in his way, he is going to every obstacle. He's going to jump over every obstacle, and he's going to run over every fucking barricade. That's the Trump that we want. That's the one that we love, and I'm hoping he gives that message out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, here's the thing. In about 20 minutes, we're going to find out.
I'm going to pop a big old bowl of popcorn.
Let's go check it
out. I'm gonna go fix me another drink, and I'm gonna get ready to watch it. So until next week, McGee, Wells, and Collins are